Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Know Before You Go presentation for our Northwest NWACUHO 2026 annual conference happening in Seattle, Washington. On behalf of the board, we're very excited that you are joining us today and will be joining us at our conference in less than 10 days. I've been having a countdown on my phone, so I'm very excited for us to see you all soon in Seattle. So before we go into the presentation, I do want to do a land acknowledgement. So I am currently situated and calling in from Olds College in Olds, Alberta, Canada. Olds College is on the traditional territories of the Niitsitapi, Blackfoot, and the people of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which include the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations. We are also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, District 3. And I encourage all of us to acknowledge all the Indigenous peoples that are on Turtle Island. I want to start the presentation with just our vision statement for our association. Northwest NWACUHO strives to be a higher education, housing industry's leading regional association by providing professional enrichment that enhances the residential environment. And our mission statement is to enrich the housing profession through the promotion of best practices, professional development, collaborative sharing of ideas, and the examination of future trends relating to the administration of the physical, financial, social, and educational components of university and college housing programs. Diversity statement, we are committed to the active inclusion and involvement, increasing access and engagement, and responsible citizenship, and demonstrating a value of equity and inclusivity. So, to begin, I just wanted to just situate us for our conference. As you know, our conference is happening at the Westin Seattle. The board is working diligently to finalize all of our logistics with the hotel. And if you have any questions about the hotel, about your stay, feel free to reach out to the board or feel free to reach out to the hotel directly. They would be happy to assist you further. Information about getting to the hotel. So if you're driving in, feel free to inquire about valet service at the front entrance. Additionally, there is a self-parking option at the corner of 6th Avenue and Westlake Avenue, which is not too far from the hotel. More parking information can be found on the hotel website. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
And Akalash, real
Go
quick on
ahead.
that, we do get a discount from the standard rates. So just make sure you go see the valet to get that discounted self-parking rate.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Matthew. Public transit. So if you are new to the Seattle area, the public transit system is called Sound Transit, and they have a variety of transportation modes. One of them is called the Link Light Rail, and it's as you can see, I attached a picture here. If you are planning to come directly from the airport or come as close to the hotel as possible using public transit, I recommend taking line 1 and exiting at the West Lake Station. I took this back during the October board meeting, and it was very easy. From the airport to Westlake Station, it took probably an hour door to door, and the Westlake Station is probably a 2-minute walk from the hotel. So very convenient for travelers. I just included some information about the pricing below. It's $3 USD one way or a day pass for $6, which I think is a great economic value. And so we are very happy that our hotel site is very close to our public transit options. Conference schedule. So as you are aware, we have a conference schedule posted on our Northwest NWACUHO website. Things can change last minute, and so we try our best to update the website as often as we can, but just knowing the nature of conferences, things could also change last minute. That is why I'm proud to share that we also have a mobile option for the Northwest Cool conference schedule. And from our previous attendees, you may know that we've used the app Sketch to track our sessions and locations. But thanks to the hard work of my colleague Crystal, we actually created our own web page, mobile web page that you can use to access our Northwest Cool schedule, and that will be up to date and as live as we can with the most up to date information. So, more information about how to access this is on the emails and communications that Megan has already sent out to everyone. If you have any questions, we'll provide more information at the conference itself. It's very easy to navigate on your phone or on your laptop, and I wanted to again give a shout out to Krista for developing that over the past few months. And yes, if you have any questions about sessions, feel free to let me know. All right, so this slide I actually just took from my new member orientation. This is kind of a general overview on what's included in your conference registration for the annual conference. We have presentations, meals, exhibitors halls, roundtables, and work groups, lots of social activity options, and our annual general meeting. So for the purposes of this presentation, I am going to go through each one and talk a little bit about each opportunity. And then also you'll notice that I included a pro tip at the bottom of each slide just as a suggestion to augment your experience more at the conference. So presentations, that is the heart of the Northwest Cool Conference. We are very proud to have 24 presentations over 6 time blocks with presenters from over 10 different institutions, both from Canada and the US. And the presenters, I'm sure, are very excited to present their topics to the wider audience. We have a variety of topics, including residence life, occupancy, DIA, facilities, and more. It was very important for the program selection committee to create a program schedule that includes a wide variety of topics. Just we recognize that we have a wide variety of functional areas in our departments and attendees who are coming to the conference. So we're very proud to offer a wide assortment of program. As you may know, Northwest Cool also selects a nonprofit organization to donate to on behalf of presenters. And this year, we've chosen Mary's Place as our nonprofit organization. More information can be found on our website. And if you just look up Mary's Place, Seattle and King County, you'll find more information about our nonprofit organization of choice. My pro tip for presentations is to step outside your functional area. Personally, I'm from a residence life background, and so the conferences that I've attended to, I tried to attend sessions that talked more about operations and occupancy and facilities, just to expand my horizon. But that's kind of an encouragement. And I certainly invite you to pick programs that you think would be interesting for you. And the picture over on the right side there, it was just taken from our Seattle conference last year. As you can tell, that we have a number of people who are very excited to learn. Meals. So we have a few meals that are included in your conference registration. Those include lunch on February 10th, lunch on February 11th, which is the Tuesday, and then February 11th is the Wednesday. And then dinner on February 11th, and then we have some refreshments as well. I believe these meals are all buffet style, so just so you're aware. And then I included some other meal options on the bottom of the slide there. Relish Bistro and Fifth Bar Lounge. Those are the restaurants and areas within the hotel site itself. Relish Bistro has breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I believe, or just breakfast and lunch. I don't specifically remember. And then Fifth Bar Lounge is a bar in kind of the main lobby. We can say that the board has secured a 10% discount at these spaces. So if you just show your conference badge to the folks there, they'll be happy to apply a discount to your bill. And so yeah, happy to just promote that to folks. Um, Again, just anecdotally, I also went to Relish Bistro and Fifth Bar Lounge when I went to the October board meeting at the hotel, and it was delicious. So certainly encourage you to check them out as well. Um, if you're looking for other options, there are other options in the surrounding area of the hotel. And if this is your first time to the Seattle area, I certainly encourage you to visit Pike Place, which is home to the original Starbucks, as well as some other fun shops, antique stores, food places, that sort of thing. And it's about a 10 to 15-minute walk from the hotel. There is a bit of a decline from the hotel site to Pike Place because you're going to the water. So just from an accessibility standpoint, just wanted to mention that. The picture here is from our Calgary conference as well. Great.
And just
Let's
on
just
the meal side too, recognizing we're not able to provide breakfast, at the Relish Bistro, there is a to-go area with a cafe and coffee area, and they are going to run a special kind of just for us for breakfast sandwiches, coffees, things like that, just to make you guys aware of that on-site option for breakfast.
Mhm. And then going back to included meal, any dietary restrictions and allergies that have been submitted on the registration form have been forwarded to the hotel and to our the catering manager there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let the board know.
Yep. And on that as well, all the meals should be labeled with what's ingredients, what's not in them, such as gluten-free or dairy-free. But if you have any challenges, to please communicate that to the board or to us. We'll be around those areas. Just don't suffer in silence, pretty much is our main thing. We don't want to hear about issues afterwards. We want to try to address those immediately. And then also, just as a side note, our peak lunch is on Tuesday. That's when we have our exhibit hall running. And so, if anybody was in attendance last year, we know that that was when we kind of were really full in our lunchroom. And we're going to have the same situation this year. And we're going to really try to manage that to have some overflow areas for people to go eat lunch in as well. And so just be aware of that. Like if you enter the space and you can't find anywhere to sit, we're going to be milling around and trying to help people with that. And if you notice anybody having trouble, make sure they get connected with us so that we can help them.
Great. Thank you, Matthew. Speaking of exhibitor hall, I would say the exhibitor hall is a very unique part of a housing conference, and especially our NWACUHO conference. We have several corporate sponsors who are going to be joining us at the conference to talk about their product and services to everyone. The exhibitor hall time is from February 10th, from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The location will be posted on the schedule. And there are many engagement opportunities that you have with our corporate sponsors and vendors. We're running a raffle ticket program, and we also have an opportunity to have lunch with exhibitors as well. I want to make a note that anyone can engage with vendors. You do not have to be the one who has the purchasing power for your department. As a new professional, I engaged with vendors, and it was a wonderful time to learn about different products that are just in the industry. Um, and for my Canadian friends, feel free to ask if these vendors have a Canadian branch as well, and if they have a Canadian contact, because sometimes it can get tricky with some cross-border products and stuff. So if you just ask the vendors, I know like Folio Furniture, for example, has both Canadian and US sites. So I included a pro tip on the bottom there. I know for maybe first time attendees, it can be a bit nerve-wracking to go up to a vendor and introduce yourself. And so I just maybe put a suggestion of a script that you could use. Hi, I'm Akhilesh. I work at Old College. I'm interested to hear about your products and services and your company. And usually when you just start off with that, I know the vendors and our corporate sponsors are so excited to just engage with you and talk with you. Dong, I don't want to put you on the spot here. I know you joined us as our corporate relations director. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this slide?
No, I just want to emphasize that the main program with the raffle tickets during the exhibitor hall as well is that when you talk to the exhibitor, that they will be able to give you a raffle ticket to enter in for a drawing for a prize as well. But these exhibitors, they're very excited to be there. They're very experienced at connecting with people. So I think the pro tip there is really helpful because they will just jump right in and then they'll engage with you. So
Great. Thank you, Dong, for that.
I did want to say real quick, timing wise, so it is running from 10 a.m. to 3:30. Most people go right at 10 a.m. or right at the first window. So it's going to be really crazy busy if it's kind of too much overwhelming. Or if you're a little more strategic and you want to go later, I would suggest going in the 2:30 afternoon kind of slot. And just to spread people out because people tend to go right at the beginning. So if you can spread yourself out, that would be great.
Thank you, Matthew. Next, I wanted to talk about some roundtables and work groups that are going to be happening during the conference. So I listed a few here. We have a mentorship program meetup that our committee director, Jack, will be hosting on Monday, February 9th at 3 p.m. We have a coffee chat happening on the 10th at 1, functional area and meet and greet happening on the 10th at 5, and then an open topic roundtable happening on the 11th at 8:30. And these are just opportunities to bring different folks together to talk about shared ideas, concerns, trends that you're noticing. And we really wanted to emphasize it for this conference based on the feedback we received last year, where we wanted to create more opportunities for our conference attendees to come together. A pro tip is to just come with discussion prompts. It just makes the conversation more fruitful and engaging. These are informal meetings, so you can say, and certainly encourage anyone if you're able to attend them. So, some social activities, which is always fun. So recognizing that we want to create lots of opportunities for socialization and to just get to know one another. So we have a number of activities that we're offering. We have a University of Washington campus tour, which is one of our pre-conference activities happening on Monday, February 9th at 12 p.m. February 9th at 12 p.m. If you're interested and you haven't registered or signed up, just reach out to either Crystal or Megan for more information. We have a Monday night social, which is happening on February 9th at 8 p.m. Right now, we have a space for some board games. We're also going to have an Olympics viewing party as well, knowing that the Olympics are going to be in full swing on that day. And feel free to bring your Olympics jersey if you're Team Canada and Team US. Initially, our email did say that we will have a bowling option. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening at the moment, but we are looking at alternative things as well for folks. We also have an affinity social happening on Tuesday, February 10th at 1 p.m. And Ali, I'm going to put you on the spot if you want to speak a few words on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So our affinity social is geared towards folks that are from historically excluded backgrounds. So think about like Two-Spirit, folks that are BIPOC, anything that fits within the historically excluded umbrella. We're gonna have some like bingo cards for folks to like get to know each other, some conversation starters. And the goal is just for people to exist in a space with other people that are like them. We are going to encourage people to grab coffee from lunch and bring it with them to the socials so that way you have something to do with your hands so you don't feel like it's awkward. I feel like it's a little bit easier when you have a little snacky or something to socialize. So I'm very excited. I'm excited that this is going to be happening earlier in the day. So hopefully more folks will be interested in attending.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ali. And the last social opportunity that we have is the night on the town. This is typically an off-site social activity, and we're very proud to be having it at Hourglass Escape. So more information will be shared on the schedule webpage, as well as check out the email that Megan has sent out for more information on that. My pro tip is to hang out with new folks that you have either never met or have never interacted with before. It can be easy to hang out with people from your same institution, and we certainly encourage you to do that. But the conference is an excellent opportunity to also meet folks from other institutions and perhaps from a different country as well. And so certainly, I encourage everyone to use these social activities, among other offerings during the conference, to engage with new folks on at the conference. Jack, I see you have a hand.
Yeah, and a great way to do this too is I'm going to make a plug for our mentorship program as well. I'm just about to email all of our conference attendees. But if you want to be able to kind of like network and get to kind of like get to know professionals across our region, like in the US and Canada, joining our like mentorship program is a really great way to do that as well. So if you're interested in being a mentor or a mentee, they'll be or email in your inbox soon. And then it's super flexible. And so if you want to just be a mentor or like have that mentorship experience just at the conference, that's an opportunity. If you want it to be kind of like on like monthly, bi-monthly basis, it's like super flexible and pretty open to like people's like time commitment that they're willing to commit to that.
Thank you, Jack, for that. Next, I wanted to talk about the case study. So this is an annual tradition that we have at our conferences. I included this Malum's logo on the bottom there. They are the sponsor and the facilitator for the case study, and so we're very proud to partner with them for it. And so we're having different from previous years. We're going to be having an introduction and expression of interest of being part of the case study on Monday, February 9th at 10 a.m. It is a pre-conference activity, as you could see. And we hope that will give if you're interested, plenty of time to develop your proposal for the case. Presentations for the case studies are happening on Wednesday, February 11th at 8 a.m. So bright and early, a great way to start the day. And I just took a picture from our case study presentations from last year at the conference. So the case study is open to everyone, regardless and irrespective of your years of experience or your functional area, anything like that. However, I encourage new professionals to join the case study opportunity. It's a wonderful way not only to meet different colleagues from our association, but also to get into the mindset of a problem solver to solve a unique issue and problem. And it helps develop your presentation skills, helps develop your communication skills. And so I encourage new professionals to seize this opportunity at the conference. I never had the chance to, and I certainly regret it now. So certainly encourage everyone to join the case study.
There's still time, Akalash. Everyone's
There's still
welcome.
time.
So just
Perfect.
let Megan know before February 5th.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ian. Lastly, one of the most important things happening at our conference is the annual general meeting, and it's happening on February 11th at from 1 to 2 p.m. roughly after lunch. So it could start probably at 1:15. And as you may received information from Megan, the meeting agenda for our annual general meeting has been posted, and the agenda does include the board report from folks. The general meeting is a time for all of our member institutions to come together and to review and vote on a key association business. You'll have the chance to review our association financial position and also ask or bring up things to the board as well. So I took this picture from our Calgary conference a few years ago. But the annual general meeting is an important part of the conference, an important part of engagement with our member institutions. The NWACUHO Board is to serve you, the membership, and this is the time where you can bring up things that you feel are important for the association. Fellow board members.
On this, I do want to say that we do have a town hall earlier this day. So if there's items that you're kind of questioning about, you want to have to kind of discussions about, you can bring it up earlier, and so we can chat about it. So that just so that our annual business meeting can kind of go as efficiently as possible. You're of course welcome to bring things up there as well, but just want to make sure people are aware of that town hall early in the day.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Matthew. Going to put you on the spot anyway, so that worked out well. Great. I also wanted to talk about some open access spaces throughout the conference. We recognize that the conference can feel very busy, very demanding, and sometimes feel very overwhelming. And so we wanted to provide opportunities for all of our attendees to have spaces available for variety of needs. So we will have a lactation room available. We will also have a sensory recovery room. So thank you for Ali's leadership and the board's leadership for making that happen for anyone who just needs some time away. And then we also have an open workspace room as well. So the location of these spaces will be posted on the conference schedule webpage. And so they are going to be open access, like I said. And so feel free to use those spaces as you desire. My pro tip is don't hesitate to take breaks during the conference. I know there can be lots of socialization, lots of engagement, lots of things happening, and so certainly encourage you to take the breaks that you need to enjoy the conference. From my own experience, I really appreciated these opportunities when they were at the conferences, especially as a new professional. It felt like a lot, and so having these opportunities is great. Wonderful. All right. So getting involved. So want to thank the board for their hard work in running this conference and organizing this conference. But that also means that you as members can also be part of the conference as more than just an attendee. So we have a number of volunteer opportunities at the conference to really help with the smooth operation of the conference. So one of these roles is a program moderator role. So in this role, you'll be responsible for introducing the presenter at their specific session, timekeeping to make sure that they follow on schedule, and then thanking the presenter at the end. A script will be provided, so you don't have to feel like you have to wing it by any means. But I certainly encourage you to volunteer as a program moderator. It's also a great way to meet different folks and different presenters. There's so many stories of different people who are actually on the board with me right now who I actually moderated their program as a new tech professional, and I'm still in contact, and it's been a great experience. And it's so lovely to encourage people to present, and you can be part of that process as they're presenting. Another volunteer opportunity is wayfinding. So we'll have different volunteers throughout our hotel site to guide our attendees to other presentation rooms as well as other spaces. And your role as a wayfinder is to just direct people to the correct spaces. Again, we'll be providing more information and a script and maps to you. If you are interested in volunteering at the conference, we do have a volunteer orientation happening on February 9th at 2 p.m. We'll go over kind of the list of roles and responsibilities, assign people to different areas. And again, it's a fantastic way to get involved in the conference and really augment your experience as an attendee more than just attending presentations. So certainly encourage everyone to volunteer and really help with our experience. All right. Well, and then lastly, this was a slide I wasn't planning on including until very recently, and you'll see why. Super Bowl Sunday. So for all of our football fans, Super Bowl is happening on February 8th, and Seattle is in the Super Bowl, which is very exciting. But also recognizing that it's also the start of our conference as well. So Super Bowl is happening February 8th. The Super Bowl itself is happening in San Francisco, for folks who may not know. But Seattle is playing, and just knowing the energy around the Seahawks team, we are expecting there to be lots and lots of people in town for the Super Bowl. It's going to be high energy, but just very busy as well. And so we also expect a number of Seahawks fans to also be at our hotel. I don't know, but just as an FYI. If, let's say, Seattle wins, based off what happened previously, there could be a parade happening in the city as well, which would be really cool, but also just wanted to be mindful of that for our attendees who are visiting Seattle. So.
And I did to tell you more information. If the parade happens, then it would pass through around 11 a.m. So anybody commuting, you'll want to come in extra early to be able to get to the hotel before, because it obviously a couple hours before that, things are going to start getting really difficult in the downtown area. And then parade usually lasts an hour or so, but it'll take a couple hours for the downtown to exit. The other thing too, just so you're aware, is last time, it was 700,000 people, I guess, downtown. The cell networks were unable to operate with that many. And so just be aware there might be some other communication challenges. You will have access to be able to connect to the hotel Wi-Fi, which will hopefully be able to hold out. But just making you all aware of that if it happens.
And then the board is also looking at seeing if we can have a room available to watch the Super Bowl. We certainly are looking at the Olympics that I mentioned, but Super Bowl as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a very sports heavy week, coincidentally, which is a lot of fun as well. Okay, the next slide are just special things to bring. These are just things that I just thought of that would really help your experience at the conference. So, as you may have seen on the schedule, we are running a swag swap session where, based off the activity, you can actually get a swag item from a different institution and add it to a growing collection that you may have. So to participate, you just need to bring a swag item from your own institution, and just review Megan's email for more information on that. Like I mentioned earlier, there will be a space to watch the Olympics, and so recommend bringing Team Canada and US jersey and swag just to cheer on your country. I will certainly be bringing my Team Canada as jerseys just to promote and cheer on Team Canada. I would recommend also bringing some sort of drawstring bag or something that you could put pamphlets and swag items in. Lots of our exhibitors and corporate sponsors offer free items, pens and plushies and candies and things like that. And so just having something to carry them all with is just something I recommend as well. I've certainly been in situations where I was just carrying things in my hand and drop things and sort of. And then lastly, business cards. So I recommend bringing, if you have business cards, to bring them. It's a great way to just quickly pass on your contact information to maybe a new colleague or a corporate sponsor or vendor, just for ease of communication. I think yeah, it's just a great way to really promote your contact information. So these are some other just a list of special things to bring. But again, refer to Megan's email for more information. But just something to help with your experience. All right, so that's a lot of talking on my end. I just wanted to invite the board, and if anyone else, maybe any returning attendees, if you want to share any tips and tricks on how to really augment and create a lovely conference experience.
I did see the question about attire and dress code kind of in the chat. There's no dress code or expectation there. Dress whatever is comfortable for you. That being said, just be aware that it's going to be wet in Seattle and about 45, 50 degrees Fahrenheit or around 10 degrees Celsius when we are in Seattle. So if you're doing things out and about, just pack for that weather as well.
It's also hard to manage temperatures sometimes in hotel spaces, so make sure to wear layers that you can be comfortable in any situation.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Griffin.
I would say don't be afraid to reach out to folks if you need support. I think Matthew touched base on this a little bit at the beginning. We don't want folks to kind of suffer in silence. So if there's things that you need or ways that we can best support you, please, please, please let us know. We'll have folks kind of at the registration table, and it'll kind of eventually transition into like a FAQ area, so folks will always know where to go to get assistance. And also don't be afraid to utilize the sensory recovery area, the workspaces, any of the things that are there because they exist for you all. We want to make this a really good experience. And yeah, I just don't be afraid to advocate for your needs. And if you don't know how to best do that, find me and I will advocate with you on those things.
Yeah, and on that, I mean, it ranges everything from accessibility kind of things, temperature things, like pretty much if you see something, say something. But there's also like your own experience. Like if you're having a really hard time connecting with somebody else, or you're just like not sure where to go, we do have a help desk, like a registration table says help desk set up the whole time that we'll have people there. And we keep saying contact us. The main way is to email conference@northwestakuho.org. The board members will also have a tag on their badge. And so that's kind of the main kind of communication sources. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, the whole point of this is we want you to have a great experience. And if you're not, just like let us like know and don't feel uncomfortable about that because we've all gone to conferences where we felt, you know, where we're having difficulty connecting with the people or what's kind of going on. And so we just want to really emphasize that this is our whole point of these regional conferences is that it's a um, kind of a great experience for our attendees.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Ali, for that. All right. I wanted to invite you all, if you have any questions, feel free to just popcorn style and if you want to say it, or if you want to type it in the chat. I know many of our board members are reviewing that as well. So, but yeah, I want to open the floor for questions for the next few minutes. I don't have access to the chat. I just put on sharing my screen. Anything there? Okay. All right. Well, if you have any questions, as Matthew mentioned, feel free to email us at conference@northwestakuho.org. I also have some other board members' contact information. I put my email as well, Crystal, our United States Membership Director, as well as Matthew's email as well. So we are checking our emails regularly as we ramp up to the conference. But if there's anything that comes up, please don't hesitate to let us know. But I want to thank each and every you for joining us for our Know Before We Board presentation. It was out of feedback from the membership that we decided to make this presentation for you all. And so for that, I thank you all. And I hope you have a lovely day and see you soon in Seattle, Washington. Take care, everyone.